It's D-U-E-U till I see you. By this point you're reading my mind. It's time for football. We about to keep this thing moving. I'm about it, you're with it, let's do it. We gon' make this thing official, you heard me? If you're the best, then let's prove it. The goal is set to have a team become a unit, man. We about to keep this thing moving. I'm about it, you're with it, let's do it. We gon' make this thing official, you heard me? If you're the best, then let's prove it. The goal is set to have a team become a unit, yeah.
Welcome to Football Game Plan's NFL All 32 show. I am Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook, and today it is all about the New York Jets, all about Gang Green as we start to preview the upcoming 2021 NFL season. We'll take a look at the offensive side of the ball as well as the defensive side of the football. We'll look at the road to the Super Bowl for the Jets as well as some training camp tidbits that you want to keep an eye on. But first, let's start this video off by taking a look at some of the key storylines heading into the season as we go into our 4-minute offense. The New York Jets hired former San Francisco 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh as their new head coach. Now, he becomes the 4th Jets head coach in the last decade and hopes to keep that title for at least that long. He comes in with a lot of fanfare and a lot of praise around the NFL. Known as a great defensive coach, he also has a reputation of being able to both relate and develop players. And to me, those two things are the two most important and underrated necessities to be a successful coach at any level. He'll have his work cut out for him as the Jets were dismal on both sides of the ball in 2020. Coming along with him will be a new starting quarterback as well. With the 2nd overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, Gang Green made BYU's Zach Wilson their next attempt at finally securing the ever so elusive quote-unquote franchise quarterback. Now, Wilson is coming off of a spectacular 2020 season, and he provides that dual threat capability that's needed to thrive in today's game while also being a really good fit for new offensive coordinator Mike LaFleur's offense. What I really like about his game is that he has shown a flair for the dramatic, which is key, but what will ultimately decide his success or failure with the Jets will be all up to how he manages New York City, potential on-field struggles, and the vaunted New York media. Now, Wilson was just one part of what was a tremendous draft class for the Jets. I gave them an A+ for their efforts as they came away with some studs like offensive lineman Elijah Vera Tucker, wide receiver Elijah Moore out of Ole Miss, and running back Michael Carter, amongst others. This is a type of draft class that helps a new head coach get off to a great start, and you have to tip your cap to the Jets scouting department and general manager Joe Douglas, as this could be the class to help the Jets finally get off the tarmac and take flight. The draft was just a cherry on top of what was an impressive offseason as the Jets also made some productive noise in free agency, signing players of the likes of wide receiver Corey Davis, offensive tackle Morgan Moses, and defensive end Carl Lawson, amongst others. Getting young, ascending talent in free agency is the perfect way to help supplement or complement your draft class, strengthening your depth and frontline starters on your roster, and just making your team better as a whole. This has been one terrific offseason for the New York Jets, in my honest opinion. It's the Zach Wilson show, period, point blank. There's no competition. He's the starter, and the Jets are going into the season with him as their #1 guy. No sense in beating it around the bush, and I like this approach. They drafted him 2nd overall for a reason. Might as well get him ready to go from day one. Again, he's got the mobile game of today's quarterback and still has upside within his game, as last year was the first time he was completely healthy for a full season. Both he and the Jets hope that's the case this year and moving forward, as they've set the table for their young quarterback rather well in terms of both talent and an offensive line surrounding him. The running back position will be interesting to watch this year. Michael Carter out of North Carolina, the rookie, was my #2 running back in the draft class, and I believe he'll end up being the starter out of this group. He's got the vision, the wiggle, and the burst to thrive in his outside zone run scheme, and also can be a threat down the field in the passing game. There's also some speedy depth here as well with Tevin Coleman and Ty Johnson. LaMichael Pirine may not be as speedy as the aforementioned 3, but he does a good job of keeping the run game on pace, and you rarely see him taking losses. So look for this group to share the load and productivity this season. Last year they were 23rd in rushing. I don't think that'll be the case, as we'll see a much improved output this season. The Jets have a pretty solid receiving core, in my opinion. We talked about them bringing in Corey Davis in free agency from the Tennessee Titans, and he's a bigger catch and run guy that should be the #1 option for Zach Wilson. We also saw Denzel Mims make huge strides as a rookie last year, and he's another taller wideout built like Corey Davis that is a contested catch guy, which makes him a monster inside the red zone. Again, a quarterback's best friend. Now inside at the slot position, the Jets have an abundance of riches as Jamison Crowder has been their most consistent player over the last 2 years since coming over from Washington. But he took a pay cut this offseason because the Jets also brought in the talented Elijah Moore out of Ole Miss in this year's draft class, who is cut from the same cloth as Crowder, but Moore is just so good with the ball in his hands. He's a savvy route runner, and he'll be hard to keep off the field as a rookie. Now, last year I spoke about the speed within the depth chart here that the Jets have, and that's still the case this season as well, especially after signing Keelan Cole in free agency. Expect him, Jeff Smith, Vincent Smith to vie for those opportunities within this rotation. Now, the tight end position is full of potential, but it is an area where the potential has to start turning into production on the field. We'll see if Chris Herndon can step up and become that consistent option at the spot. The talent is there for him to do so. He just has to find that consistency. Ryan Griffin and Tyler Crawford are solid tight end 2 type options. Both Griffin and Trayvon Wesco are more of your blocking tight ends, but keep an eye out for undrafted rookie free agent Kenny Yeboah out of Ole Miss, who has the ability to get down the seam pretty quickly. Nowhere the Jets improved more this offseason, in my opinion, than up front along the offensive line. This group I thought was underrated last year as they started to play better toward the season's end. They got great play last season from second-year tackle Mekhi Becton, who was as good as advertised as a rookie and looks to be a future All-Pro at the position. Connor McGovern and George Fant played well last season, and it'll be interesting to see where Fant fits into the starting 5 as the Jets brought in Morgan Moses, who started last year at right tackle for the Washington football team. Now, trading up and drafting Elijah Vera Tucker in the first round just lets you know that he's going to hold down one of those starting guard spots. Perhaps that pushes free agent signee Dan Feeney from the Chargers to the other side or into a key reserve role. They also have some good young developing players in Chuma Doga out of USC and Cameron Clark, who was drafted last year. I would keep an eye out for undrafted rookie free agent Tristan Hodge, who was a former teammate of Zach Wilson and was one of the more dominant guards in the draft class. To me, this is a deep and talented group that should help pave the way for a much improved offense in 2021. They were 32nd on offense last year. That won't be the case in 2021. Additions were made up front along the defensive line for the Jets as they are moving to more of a 40 front instead of those 30 looks we've seen over the last few seasons. Defensive tackle Quentin Williams gives them a very good foundational piece to work with. He was strong in his second season and is trending in the right direction. I like the addition of Sheldon Rankins they were able to acquire in free agency. Health has been the biggest concern for him, but when he's out there on the field, he impacts the game. And Flo Fotokasi is one of the better run defenders on the team and one of the more underrated defenders in the AFC. The run defense department is an area that they were actually strong in last year. Now, Carl Lawson was brought in to help provide the pass rushing chops off the corner. He's getting an opportunity to be the full-time guy, which is something that he wasn't in Cincinnati. He was more of a spot duty, situational rusher type. Now he gets the opportunity to be out there for a full 4 downs, full 17-game season. Vinny Curry and John Franklin Myers both have good ability, and Franklin Myers has more upside and is still a very underrated player amongst the league and NFL community. So is Kyle Phillips, but you hope that he's able to fully return from a leg injury that he suffered last season. But don't sleep on Bryce Huff, who was able to flash last year as an undrafted rookie free agent, and he should be put in more advantageous situations this year under their new defensive coordinator, Jeff Ulbrich. The Jets get a huge component to their defense back this season, and that's inside linebacker CJ Mosley, who opted out last year and is now 2 years removed from an injury and playing for that matter. It's good to see him back on the field. He gives them both instincts and ability on the inside. The team loves the speed of Jared Davis, who they signed in free agency from the Detroit Lions, and Blake Cashman is talented, but he has proven to be injury prone the last 2 seasons. So his uncertainty is why they invested heavily in this position during the draft with the selections of Jamian Sherwood out of Auburn and Hamson Nasiruddin out of Florida State. Both guys are former safeties that will make the transition to outside linebacker at the pro level, just increasing the athleticism and versatility at that position. And I'm excited to see how last year's 3rd round pick Jabari Zuniga will fare in this new defense. He has raw tools to work with and will get the benefit of development from this new coaching staff. This will be an area where the Jets have to play better in 2021 and will be looking for vast improvement across the board. They were 28th in pass defense last year, and a lot of that could be a combination of lack of pass rush and also lack of depth. However, last year we saw Bless Austin step up and play well in the second season, giving them at least something to work with. He and Bryce Hall, who will be 2 years removed from his injury in college, and although he played some last year, expect him to get back to what we saw from him at Virginia. Now, behind those two guys is where all of the fun starts this training camp, so expect a lot of battles this summer. Javelin Guidry and Brandon Eccles, the rookie out of Kentucky, both are quick and speedy guys that will jockey for that nickel spot, with Guidry having that legit Olympic speed, so he could help out on special teams. 2021 draft picks Michael Carter out of Duke and Jason Pinnock out of Pitt, both were taken in the 5th round, and they figured to compete for depth on the outside. There are those long, lengthy, athletic corners that we know Robert Saleh loves in his defense, and we'll see if another long, lengthy corner in Lamar Jackson can make some strides this year after being thrusted into the starting lineup last season as an undrafted rookie due to injuries. I do like the toughness that he plays with. Now, the safety position looks to be in better shape as Marcus May is one of the leaders on this defense, and the signing of LaMarcus Joyner gives them a smart, instinctive, versatile defender that's capable of playing anywhere in the secondary. And second-year player Ashton Davis out of Cal will look to build on an up-and-down rookie season. And just like Lamar Jackson, he was someone that was thrusted into action early and will be in a much better situation this upcoming season. One of the major reasons for optimism for the Jets this season is the fact that they got a guy in Robert Saleh who should help stabilize the franchise. He's a very good defensive coordinator, a good developer of talent, and the players seem to gravitate toward him. To me, that's exactly what you want at the head coaching position, and I think that's why the Jets have a lot of optimism about Saleh heading into the season. You also have to be optimistic about this impressive draft class. You talk about an A+ draft class from start to finish. Even in the undrafted rookie free agent market, the Jets got significantly better. Just an infusion of talent on this roster on both sides of the ball. And you look at this team not being as bad as their 2-14 2020 record indicated. The Jets should have won 6 or 7 games last year just off talent alone. They were in a lot of games and then it just fell apart late. Some games they were completely blown out because of the offense, but this team wasn't as bad as that number 2 overall pick indicated. So I think there is a lot to be optimistic about if you're a Gang Green fan. A cause for concern would be if the rookie quarterback Zach Wilson just doesn't get it going this season, which is sort of expected for a rookie. You just hope that it comes early and not late, but if he's the reason why they lose games, that gives you a little bit of cause for pause in 2021. And if the secondary doesn't improve significantly, again, this was a unit that was bad last year. A lot of inexperience, a lot of lack of depth were the main issues, lack of pass rush. And you hope that isn't the case this season as they look to be improved around this secondary. So they need the secondary to definitely raise their level of play. Some training camp quick hits, and you look at the camp surprise on the offensive side of football. Undrafted rookie free agent Tristan Hodge, again, was one of my top guard prospects, my number 2 guard prospect in the draft class. The Jets got him as an undrafted free agent. He was dominant on the field at BYU. He will surprise some and factor into the mix early in that rotation. On defense, Bryce Huff. This was a guy that flashed last year as an undrafted free agent, an undersized rusher coming out of Memphis. He's cut from the same cloth, in my opinion, as Carl Lawson. Look for him to surprise as well under this new defensive scheme. Some rookie impacts on both sides of the ball. You can give it to the entire draft class, but offensively, I had to give it to 2 guys. Elijah Vera Tucker, who's penciled in as a starter at guard, dominant player for USC, and Michael Carter, the running back, I think will be the starter, the lead dog in his backfield, and will make a ton of plays as a rookie. And on defense, cornerback Jason Pinnock out of Pitt was one of my underrated draft prospects in the class. He's long, lengthy, athletic, can press rather well, and should factor in early within his secondary. The biggest X factors on the team offensively, it's an obvious one. It's the rookie quarterback Zach Wilson. He has to be the guy or someone that's getting better as the season goes on from day one. If he plays well in conjunction with what they've done around him as far as skill players are concerned, along that offensive line, this team can go far. And defensively, they need Carl Lawson to be a double-digit sack guy. If he can be that guy for them, up front on defense. We know the front end helps out the back end. So if he can provide that pass rush, we know the secondary will look vastly improved over last season. In terms of breakout players offensively, I'm going with Denzel Mims. He'll be the direct beneficiary of having a Corey Davis opposite of him and having a better quarterback in Zach Wilson under center. Those two reasons will be why he should have a fantastic second year with Gang Green. And on defense, Bless Austin. I like his game. I loved his game coming out of Rutgers. He was a physical corner, exactly what Robert Saleh wants at the position. I think you'll see him take significant steps forward this upcoming season. The road to the Super Bowl for the Jets goes as follows. That defense has to get top 10. When you bring in a Robert Saleh, you want to improve significantly in his area of expertise, and that's defense. If they get into the top 10, look out. Zach Wilson has to get better every week. He has to struggle early, but start to get better and better with each and every passing week as he gets more experience. If that's happening in conjunction with the top 10 defense, this team could get scary. And if that run game runs into the top 10 with their scheme and with the versatile backs that they have on their depth chart, you talk about a top 10 run game, a quarterback that's young and improving, and a defense that's top 10, the Jets could find themselves in the playoffs and definitely going far. I have the Jets finishing 4th in the AFC East. This is a team that I almost put 3rd in this division. The talent alone and the new coaching staff, to me, makes this an exciting team to watch in 2021. I can even see the Jets flirt with that 7th wild card spot this year. So I definitely see them as a 7 or 8 win team, as I expect Zach Wilson to play well. I expect this defense to be much better, and they'll be on the cusp of the playoffs. Maybe not in 2021, but definitely breaking through next season. But this is a dangerous team to watch. The arrow is definitely pointing up for Gang Green. So that's it for this edition of Football Game Plan's NFL All 32 show. I am Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Be sure to follow me on all of my social media accounts, and don't forget to check out and subscribe to the Football Game Plan Network located at youtube.com/footballgameplan. Also subscribe on iTunes to Football Game Plan Podcast and leave us a 5-star rating.
It's D-U-E-U till I see you by this point. You're reading my mind. It's time for football. We about to keep this thing moving. I'm about it, you're with it, let's do it. We gon' make this thing official, you heard me? If you're the best, then let's prove it. The goal is set to have a team become a unit, man. We about to keep this thing moving. I'm about it, you're with it, let's do it. We gon' make this thing official, you heard me? If you're the best, then let's prove it. The goal is set to have a team become a unit, yeah.